Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's Headmaster's blog. It's Friday, the 10th of December, and this week has been an incredibly busy festive affair. It has been, I think, a microcosm of a year at Kingswood House with absolutely expeditious learning beyond the classroom in abundance. Starting off really with the Year 9s, who on Tuesday captured all of the imagination of the Dragons in the Dragon's Den at their perfect pitch business and enterprise fair. Every single pupil in their teams presented their own business model and then subsequently delivered on that in the afternoon. It really was a fantastic example of life skills and prowess, and well done. I have to say, having been to 4 of these now, each year I've seen a marked improvement, and this was the best of the bunch by some way. So do look out in the newsletter for the profitability and the accounts made by the boys on that occasion. Then on Wednesday night, the Year 9s were treated as my guests to a very formal headmaster's banquet. Thank you to Mr. Sick Day for organising it. We had lessons in etiquette, a fantastic array of food and drink courtesy of our catering team, and most convivial conversations. So a really lovely evening enjoyed by all of us. Then on Wednesday morning we had the pleasure of 7BL presenting assembly to us, a very topical assembly featuring the Grinch, and it was all about the message that Kingswood House values of respect, integrity and endeavour are applicable in all walks of life. And although we talk about them as common currency in and around our school, they are equally applicable at home. And certainly we are able to have a respectful understanding that not everybody celebrates Christmas, but it is a time when we can all try and make one another happy. It's a time when we can be our best selves, be open to giving as well as to receiving. And of course, in terms of endeavour, it's never unappreciated to offer to wash up or to help your parents and relatives to make sure that everybody can have a rest and enjoy the Christmas season. So thank you very much, Miss Black. I thought that all of the girls and boys talked with great eloquence on a really important subject at a relevant time of year. Speaking of which, thank you to Mrs. Linley for putting on a really wonderful array of maths enrichment in their second half of term. Speaking as somebody who never particularly enjoyed maths myself at school, I can only wish that we'd had this kind of creativity, because it might just have captured my imagination. The boys and girls have been doing all sorts of activities in this half of term to really stimulate their interest in such an important subject, and that does not come without a lot of hard work and preparation. So well done to Mrs. Linley for an excellent programme of maths enrichments, and of course we look forward to science in the first half of next term. Last night, it was a great pleasure to listen to Tony Underwood of England and British Lions rugby fame talk about his career, both on the field of play and indeed as captain of an aircraft, because he went into flying after his rugby career. Tony infamously came up against Jonah Lomu, the giant New Zealand wing, at the peak of his physical prowess in the 1995 World Cup. And Tony, who is not exactly diminutive, but certainly looked that way by comparison to the 6'5" and 19 stone Kiwi, was brushed aside in that semi-final of the World Cup. And he talked, I think, with great candour about how that rather chastening experience has helped him form his own set of values, and he now talks, I think, with great investment and imparted some really key messages to all of our girls and boys, whether or not they could identify with the sporting analogy or not, about what they can do to help themselves and to be the best person that they can be moving forward. So a massive thank you to Tony for giving up the time to speak to us, and thank you also to Mrs. Hornstetter, who was a bridesmaid at Tony's wedding, for putting us in touch with him. It was a really super evening. Thank you so much. A reminder that obviously the carol service is not taking place in person on Monday evening as we had hoped. We are instead recording a streamlined programme of events, and Miss Foster will collate those and send them out to you before the end of the term. If your child is in years 5 to 8, they will definitely be participating as part of the upper prep choir. If they are a performer or a reader, then Miss Foster will let you know. It is really important that they come in uniform. They are able to wear a Christmas jumper, of course, underneath, but they will need their blazers. I would like everybody looking smart for that recording. For everyone else, it will also be uniform and Christmas jumpers on Monday and Tuesday of next week. Please do not come in mufti. It is Christmas jumpers with uniform for both days. We are also having Christmas lunch, as you know, spread out between Monday and Tuesday due to the latest COVID guidelines. If you are having lunch on Monday, you will need a packed lunch on Tuesday and vice versa. So please do make sure that you keep abreast of all of the information for next week. It promises to be a really fantastic last few days, but it is important that everybody just is organised for that to happen. Likewise, all of the teaching staff have been working hard, none more so than Mr. March with his final proofreading, and they will be sent home to you together with grade cards in a sealed envelope on Monday or Tuesday. Please make sure that you read the reports with adult eyes first, so that in the event of there being any surprises or anything that doesn't quite make sense, you can check it with the relevant member of staff before the end of the term and before discussing it with your child. I have seen all of them, and the positivity I think they're in is very encouraging. So well done, everybody, and thank you to the staff for taking the time and effort to write them in a very personalised manner. And finally, a big thank you to the Kingswood House Association, who have generously donated money that all of the girls and boys can enjoy an end-of-term treat. So lots to look forward to. It should be a stellar end to the term. And here are the last mentions in dispatches for the Christmas term. Firstly, well done to Olivia in reception for her show and tell sessions as Mr. Clerk, to Maya for great maths work from Mrs. Lambert, to Leo Joseph and Rafi Martins for their enthusiasm in DT, Hugh Hunter for creating a game for Miss Smith, to Cyril Brockett-Deakins, who was very kind and considerate when the class were discussing how they wanted to invest the money from the KHA in their end-of-term treat. Cyril suggested that we should give it to charity and bring in a few snacks from home. Well done, Cyril. What a great policy that is. But Miss Forbes was really impressed with that. Well done to Sophie Teasman for showing honesty and generosity, says Mrs. Lindley. Sophie gets another nomination from Mrs. Webb for computer science, together with Reese Bishop and Indy Daisley. Alex Forbes and Frankie Larter for great reading in the Christmas show last week from Madame Swift. Well done to Ezra for really good work and good humour this term, says Mr. Barrett. Stanley Brockett-Deakins and Connor Morley Alvarez in art. Well done from Mrs. Wraith. To Howard, Kishan, Dylan, Alyssa and Jensen, well done to you for your enthusiasm in the 7BL Assembly. You've really encouraged others in the forum and wanted to show off your public speaking. You certainly did that. Thank you from Miss Black. Well done to Jensen, Gabriel, James, Kishan from Mrs. Webb in Computer Science. To Finn Rosendale, Josh Dyson, Josh Simon Pillai, Ethan Bowl, Dan Giles and Harrison West for their great performances on the football field from Miss Patel. To Alex Hayworth, Kishan again, Sebastian Versace, Connor, Henry Rusco, Thomas Hitman, James Dowling, Sammy Wood for entering the Love Languages competition. And this is something that we take very seriously at Kingswood House. We've got an excellent track record in this event, so I'm looking forward to similar success this year. Thank you to 7P and 7BA from Mrs. Weston, who have chosen and talked about a philanthropist in RS. I'd love to hear who you chose. Finn Rosendale again, good week for you. Tristan Bush, James Dowling, again, really good effort from Mrs. Webb in ICT. Into year 8, well done to Enzo and Eddie Collins, who have done very well in science. To Will Harverson, who's generally growing in confidence, reports Miss Patel. And to Shay for his excellent effort in maths from Mr. Sikdeo. James McDowell and Toby Cox have shown really good respect throughout the course of the term, reports Mr. Lordy. 8L have generally been fine in geography all term and worked really well across some very difficult topics. Toby Cox, another nomination for you, Toby, with your excellent work and notes during science. Jasper Wong and Ethan Carroll for producing excellent movies in computer science for Mrs. Webb. Madame Taylor would like to say a big thank you to all of the class who've given up the time to decorate it during break time. Bo Clark, a very good effort in computer science. Form 8T, really good manners, says Mr. Day when he took a cover session. And 8T, I really enjoyed dropping in to you this week and talking to you about your independent project qualification. Loads of good ideas and some blossoming titles, so I look forward to hearing more about that progress next term. Into the seniors, Bogdan has been nominated for his kindness and generosity by Mrs. Bray. Lucas Cressy and Ollie Gow both have really shown a commitment to their learning in science in particular, says Miss Black. Ben Holmes, a really improved work ethic. Good to hear, Ben, going above and beyond from Mr. Sitdeo. James Carr and Henry Sweetman for excellent attainment in lessons this term from Mr. Hendry. And in year 9, Mrs. Lindley would like to commend Matt Mullen for his really hard work on a consistent basis. Well done from Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Sitdeo for all of year 9 in their work in the Enterprise Fair, as I discussed earlier. Really fantastic teamwork and a great business acumen is shown. In PSHE 10H, really impressed Mrs. Hornstetter. They had to have a discussion about things in life that they were grateful for, and many of them said how grateful they were for being at Kingswood House, because the good education they're getting is going to be the bedrock for their future. Lovely to hear. Well done to Ismail Mohammed, who is absent from school for some time, but he's been very proactive in catching up, says Mrs. Weston. Ted Hartley and Anthony Mirnick have completed some very good work for Mrs. Lindley. Caden Courtney has made a really concerted effort to catch up with his work, says Mr. Bailey. And Mrs. Wraith would like to say thank you to all of her form for all their participation in the 11W Assembly recently. And Sam Squire has impressed Mr. Mitchell. He's been a great support up in the senior common room, not least in the darts competition. So well done to you, Sam. I know that you've caught a number of people's eyes so far this term. And finally, Mr. Mitchell is very impressed with his Year 11 geography class. Been great this term, loads of interesting discussions, lots of insightful commentary. So that wraps up the penultimate week of term here at Kingswood House. There is so much to look forward to over the next 2.5 days. In the meantime, have a very restful weekend, and I look forward to talking to you for what will be a very short sign-off Headmaster's blog together with the final newsletter of the term on Wednesday.